Greetings one and all, and welcome to the Dark Rider movie analysis. I am the Nightmare Rider, Major Vine, reminding you as always that even a cheeseburger can be deconstructed to its original source. Pacific Rim was, without a doubt, one of the most highly anticipated movies of 2013. Given both the teasing mecha battles and the highly acclaimed director Guillermo del Toro at the helm, the film had high expectations for something more well polished than the average summer blockbuster. Needless to say, Mr. Del Toro delivered everything I could have possibly asked for and more. From the trailers, you would expect this to be a simple popcorn flick with cheesy dialogue and not much substance to go with. As I mentioned in my Godzilla 2014 review, this isn't necessarily a bad thing if that's what the filmmakers are aiming for. While Pacific Rim does contain a lot of amazing mecha fights, it is at its heart a very human story that focuses largely on the unification of humanity and the individuals who must achieve this. In fact, the opening scenes of the movie show how we tend to glorify our heroes when we think they keep us safe, not realising until it's too late that even our heroes can have fragile minds broken like any one of us. So when kaiju start getting stronger and the Jaeger pilots start to die, politicians lose faith in the Jaeger program, which is the first major ideological divide. The primary expression of the unifying humanity theme is through the characters. All three of the primary pilots work in an influential triangle to one another, balancing each other's traits to ultimately save humanity from the kaiju. Stacker Pentecost, portrayed by Idris Elba, is the head of the Jaeger program and the veteran pilot, managing the dwindling resources because he knows how vital it is. He is a strict and influential leader, describing himself as a fixed point for everyone to revolve around and make operations run like clockwork. He has numerous clashes with Riley's more rebellious and in-the-moment nature, although he is never portrayed as being blinded by his own authority. He is minimising the risk to use as few resources he has left to combat the kaiju effectively, although he clearly recognises when Riley's out-of-the-box thinking benefits everyone. Likewise, he is very protective of Mako, being a fatherly figure to her after rescuing her from a kaiju attack when she was a child. His protection of Mako isn't done out of sexism, as he knows how much her traumatic past can and does influence her. But just like with Riley, he opens up to Mako's fighting skills when necessary, earning a larger respect for them both without ever wavering in his leadership position. As I stated before, Riley Beckett, played by Chris Hanneman, is someone who doesn't always follow exact orders at first. His traumatic past comes from the death of his brother, who was his original Jaeger co-pilot, meeting an end through the kaiju attack while it was still drifting. The drift system shares all the thoughts, knowledge and emotions of both pilots of a single Jaeger, which is necessary, so two pilots have to be compatible personality-wise in order to properly pilot a Jaeger. He sees this instantly in Mako and openly expresses how much they are in sync with one another, demonstrated by a sparring match. Despite his cocky attitude, he is far from stupid and learns to have self-control, especially in front of one of the arrogant pilots of the striker Eureka. He recognises when he pushes his authority too far with Stacker, learning to respect him as the film goes on, which allows him to make room for this out-of-the-box thinking during a kaiju fight. His position as a white male lead doesn't make him always perfect or correct, and he has a deep admiration for Mako based on her skills. She is his equal, not his lesser. Mako starts out as very meek and complacent, trusting Stacker's judgment because of how she grew up around him. She shows how much he respects Stacker, which in turn teaches Riley how to respect Stacker as well. Mako is probably one of my favourite female characters in film, and she is shown to match Riley move per move during their sparring match, with her testing his combat skills just as much as he is testing her. As stated before they began, the sparring match wasn't a battle, it was a conversation. This is a conversation that is carried out through the Jaeger battles, and Mako gets just as many badass combat moves as Riley, pulling out some of the amazing hidden weapons from the Jaeger system. Because of Riley, she learns to come out from under Stacker's wing, as well as come to terms with her own traumatic past. These memories are a danger that nearly caused a disaster when drifting with Riley, but she never loses any respect for Stacker in the process. In fact, she gains more respect for him and makes Stacker even more proud of her. The platonic bond she forges with Riley makes them both stronger and further adds to the optimistic tone of the entire film without ever forcing them into a stereotypical romantic relationship. The scientists of this film continue to defy stereotypes and play a vital role with the film as a whole. They provide the vital information on the biology of the kaiju and the frequency of attacks, taking huge risks on their own to further their own research when necessary. While at first the two scientists have some distaste for one another's research and methods, when Dr. Newton guys the risks in putting himself on the line of a kaiju attack just to get a fresh brain to work with, even Dr. Herman Gottlieb realizes that they need to work together to unlock the secrets of the kaiju brain. Their research is always taken seriously when they show the results, and their physical disabilities never take away from that fact. It only adds to the characterization, seeing them overcome their limitations in the name of science. The only real complaint I have about this film would be, besides the pilot of the Striker Eureka, Herc and Chuck Hansen, the other featured Jaeger pilots really don't get much screen time or defining character moments. We are told how they are exceptionally skilled pilots, and we do get to see them in action with their unit Jaegers. However, unfortunately they die very quickly during the kaiju battle, so never get to properly show how skilled they are supposed to be. I understand that the point of this is to show how limited the resources are and how powerful the kaiju have become, but honestly seeing some success for both the Russian and Chinese pilots would have been better as simply telling us of their skills. But even this is not enough to take away from the spectacular design and special effects of the film. The world building early on in the film is displayed through the development of the Jaeger system, giving the film a big sense of realism to how everyone responds to the kaiju attacks. The Jaegers have big rusted textures on them, and the development is shown in such great detail that it blends seamlessly with the practical effects used for the cockpits. Every little piece of weaponry on the Jaegers folds in and out of the humanoid shape, adding to the excitement of the reveal and the heat of battle. Both the Jaegers and the kaijus are given a great deal of weight to their movements, so nothing ever feels like it's floating around apart from the surroundings. The kaiju themselves also have a mix between CGI and practical effects. The living and fighting beasts are constructed with CGI to give them a great fluidity to their movements, but for their individual body parts up close, the practical design team has gone above and beyond to give them a fantastical alien shape and textures to them. The aforementioned weight of both the kaiju and Jaegers, combined with the direction that allows the camera to show each glorious exchange in blows in battle, as well as some really snappy dialogue alongside with some of the more awesome film moments, the film is just an absolute treat to look upon for its 2-hour running time. Overall, Pacific Rim is an astoundingly optimistic film, which takes all the best concepts from both the real robot and super robot genres of mecha anime. All the characters are relatable, well developed and superbly acted, allowing us to understand every single point of view presented. But above all, any differences in ethnicity, gender or physical ability is put to the wayside to explore and understand their personal lives, making their successes and failures incredibly emotionally involving. What few flaws in character screen time this film has is more than made up for in the sheer joy and fun that comes with the fight scenes with the kaiju. Whether from the perspective of analysis or a simple popcorn flip, Pacific Rim is so close to perfection that it deserves nothing less than a solid S grade. This is a must-see film. Until the next review, this is the Nightmare Rider, Major Mind, riding out.